Hey, good morning, everybody. This is AKA Heather Joy, and I am streaming both on the lifeboat and my own channel. So, hello to everybody. Pardon me. Before I get started, I just want to quickly go over the rules. Excuse me this morning, goodness. Anyway, number one, no politics, please. The only time that they are discussed is at Tommy's discretion, and it's it's when it's applicable to the drug crisis, things like that. Number two, let's see, it's not a religious channel. It's all right to say things like, I will pray for you. You'll often hear people say things like, I couldn't have found sobriety without my faith. Those things are fine. But anything like saying my God is better than your God, none of that, please. The third one, please refrain from cursing in the comment section and the live chat. As Tommy always says, if you can't control your tongue, you can't control your life. And I completely agree. Number four, there's absolutely no room here for mean people. Now, there are a lot of people that come here for support. They're dealing with a lot of things, and they're trying to get a handle on sobriety, and it's a difficult thing, and we need to protect these people. And this has been an amazing place ever since I discovered it, and let's keep it that way. So yeah, let's get started here. I wanted to talk about psychological immunity today. And I am not prepared the way that I wanted to be. I have quite a few people where I live that I'm a sponsor for, and one of them had a very terrible night, and I was on the phone for, I don't even know, hours. And so when I finally sat down to put this together, I kept falling asleep. So I'll just do my best, guys, but please understand. It's not what I wanted, but hey, we're here, we're going to do this. So the reason that, let me explain why I wanted to talk about this today. Yesterday, I had a very heavy heart yesterday anyway. And then Tommy's stream last night, and he's speaking about the border crisis and what is going to happen tomorrow. We're going to be flooded. And I worry, not just about all of the drugs that are going to come across, but I worry about the crime and the diseases that, these people are coming from a lot of poor countries. It's not just people from South America. There are a great deal of Chinese. There are people from Haiti, from Africa, all over Africa. I mean, there's people coming from everywhere. And there are just a lot of countries that they can't afford to immunize everybody against the common diseases that we do here. I worry about things like that. And again, I worry about safety, because they our society is quite different from other countries, and sometimes things don't mix well. They don't have the same standards, and sometimes that brings, unfortunately, a lot of crime along with it. And there are some bad things that are happening, and I worry. I worry a lot. And that really, I've known all about it, but for some reason it really got to me last night, and it really started to bother me, and it just started a flood of thoughts. I used to watch Marfugel every night that they were on, to keep up on what's going on worldwide. And a few weeks ago it just got to be too much for me, and I had to stop, because it was just, I'm a worrier. I worry about everybody. I had to stop. And So that, that was helping, but for some reason everything just flooded last night, and I think it was just a combination of things. I've had very little sleep the last few weeks. Last week was really difficult because it was the anniversary of my father's death, and it's really strange how your body keeps tabs. Your body has its own internal clock and knows. There are two times every year when I really, really struggle, and it's around this time, because that's when my father passed away, and it was a horrible, traumatic thing to watch him going, through cancer and chemo and radiation, and be so ill, and then to see him just suffer so much. It was really traumatic, and I will often forget that that time is coming, and my body will remind me, with just a lot of pain everywhere, that just, that anyway, that I get that twice a year. I get that with, with my dad. And then later on, around the anniversary of when I was in that horrible accident I was in when I was a kid, my body reminds me again. And, that was still kind of bothering me, and then the financial crisis, the banks that are crashing, it just things that are going on financially, that it's very worrisome. I started thinking about that, and it's my husband and I have we're not wealthy, not even close, but we've always been able to make ends meet and take care of ourselves, and there's just a lot of things that we go without. We don't drive cars that we can't pay for up front, so we never drive new cars. We just, we try to be frugal, and we've always been fine until recently. Things are getting hard. Things, inflation is just so horrible, and there's just things I have to go without now that we never used to, and that's starting to get to me. There's certain medications and certain supplements that I just don't get now, just because we've got a buttload of chickens to take care of, and there's no way I will not, have feed for them. So, there's all kinds of things, and then I worry about all of our children and our grandchildren. Just this world is messed up now. Our society really is crumbling. And I worry about our children. I worry about our grandchildren and what's going to happen to them. Are they going to be able to survive everything that's going on? I worry about everything. Um, and my husband and I have put a great deal of our money into being prepared. I'm not worried about, having things to eat or having protection, things like that. We're good, but I worry about our family, and then I worry about you guys. They're the people that contact me that are, they're part of the lifeboat, and I hear their stories and what you guys are going through, the things that you're dealing with. I'm an empath. I feel everybody's pain, and it blows my mind that even though the people that I'm speaking to, I have never met face to face, I still feel what you're going through. And I worry about you guys. I pray about you guys all the time. I know you guys are hurting, and I know that, there's just so much going on, and there's such need for us all to be physically healthy and psychologically healthy. And that's why I want to talk about this. I went to the grocery store last night, and everything had, just all of these thoughts were running through my mind. And I was trying to decide, what to buy and what to go without. And it all just, I don't know, all those thoughts were going through my head, and I broke down right in the grocery store. I couldn't stop the tears. And it was so embarrassing. I cried all the way home, and I just kind of fell apart for a little while, and I haven't that hasn't happened for a long time, but I just realized my gas tank is completely empty, and I need some serious psychological immunity. I think we all do. We've got to be prepared for whatever is coming, because you look around, it's not hard to see that our country is in a lot of trouble right now, and I don't know what's going to happen. I don't see a way out of it either right now. But it disturbs me greatly, and it's hard enough, trying to maintain your sobriety and trying to work through your issues, let alone having everything around you fall apart. So that's why I really want to talk to you guys about this. And like I said, I didn't have the time that I wanted to really prepare this well, but I'll do my best. When I, you know, I always turn to God. That's the way I was raised, and it works for me, and that's where I find so much strength. You know, my worship, my studying scripture and praying, all of those things just give me tremendous amount of strength. But this is not a religious channel, so I unfortunately can't share that with you. But that's where I go. So I started searching on the internet, was looking up things, like resilience and things like that, things that I could find some good things to pull out for you guys. And I came across Deepak Chopra, and that's not anyone I had really. I mean, I know who he is, and I've seen him, I've heard him a few times, but I've never really read anything that he has that he's done. And he's had many books, and I found an article that he had written, and it was titled, I think, Psychological Immunity. And I started looking into it, and I found some really good things in there. He talks about, we all need, our physical immunity, and we all know how important our physical immunity is. Our immune systems are there to protect us. They is constantly searching through your body for any kind of invader, and it will kill bacteria and viruses, and cancer cells that come across in your body. Those are taken out. Our immune systems are so vital, and we just came through a pandemic, so we all know how important it is for our physical health, and how important our immune systems are. But what about this psychological immunity? And I want to read you a quote. He actually tweeted this, Deepak Chopra, and he said, what is psychological immunity? It is the ability of the mind to resist disease, ward off emotional toxins, and endure the pendulum swings of gain and loss, joy and sorrow, attraction and repulsion. That really struck a chord with me when I read that. And he talked about mental pathogens. We're all very familiar with pathogens, viruses, infections, bacteria, those kind of things, and parasites. We're all familiar with what those can do to your body. But what about, mental pathogens? And he was talking about how, in medicine, about 100 years ago, Freud was writing about he called it the psychopathology of everyday life. And I thought, oh boy, that's exactly what we're going through right now. That's what we feel everywhere. There's so much negativity. People are, different sides of the political groups are, fighting with each other, and there's so much hatred, there's so much division going on, and that really is some pathology. Pathology is a disease process. So this is things that are going to affect your mind. I really like that. But over 100 years ago, doctors looked at treating the entire patient, not just relying on what we do now. The lab, we do. Anybody that goes into the ER, they just start drawing blood, and they do tests and labs and x-rays and all of these things, and they rely on those diagnostic tools to figure out what is going on. And I think medicine's lost its art in a lot of ways. 100 years ago, they really did treat the whole person, the physical body, the mind, the spirit, everything. I think we've lost a lot that way. And I think that's a problem now. We're not seeing a person as a whole person. We're just treating medicine. It bothers me. We just treat the symptoms now. It's more like sick care than it is getting to the source of whatever is causing the disease. And it's the same way in psychiatry, I think, unfortunately. And that really bothers me. See, but everybody needs protecting. They need to have some sort of protection, like our immune systems. We need some sort of protection to protect us from what Freud called that psychopathology of everyday life. And today more than ever, do we need that? So what do we do to build some kind of immunity? He talks about how mental pathogens are invisible, but they're very potent. And he talks about how it begins with negative emotions, and he talks about fear and anger and hatred, greed and jealousy. And when we let those fester inside us, we become toxic, and it can spread to other people. And I saw this growing up in my home a lot, where my mother was in a bad mood and she was screaming and yelling and tearing everybody down, and just the things that she would say when she'd lose it really did affect everybody. It really did. All of the anger and all the emotions, the negative emotions she had in her, were just infected everyone else in the house. And I see that going on in our society. So I was thinking, where I live, there's a massive globe willow on the east side of where I live. It's absolutely beautiful tree. It's massive, huge. I don't know how long it's been there, but this tree is huge. And we get windstorms here that are unbelievable. I have some friends that live just down the street that moved here from Florida. So they're used to the hurricanes. They've lived through many hurricanes. They know what serious wind is. But the windstorms we get here, they said it is worse than anything they've ever seen, and every time we have a huge windstorm, that globe willow, afterwards, if you look on the ground, there's broken branches just all littered all over the ground. And you got to go out there and pick them all up. But that it doesn't hurt the tree. It breaks a few branches and things, but that tree is very stable. It must have very deep roots, because it holds it right in place. That tree is just steady. And I remember in 2019, my husband and I went to West Virginia, in the Beckley area, to do some Spartan races. And near the hotel that we were, well, on the grounds, they had had a huge storm, lots and lots of rain and wind right before we arrived. And one of the trees, that it was just beautiful grounds, but one of the trees was completely uprooted. And this was a huge tree, but it was just strange to see it, just completely fallen over. And, obviously it must have had deep roots because, well, maybe it didn't. Now that I think about it, that place gets so much water that, now that I think about it, I guess the roots don't have to get down as deep into the ground, and with all that water, the soil isn't as drained either. So the roots aren't forced to go deep. So it gets, that huge tree was blown right over. And I was just comparing those two trees, and I thought, that's what we need. We need some really good, stable ground that forces roots to go deep, so that no matter what comes at you, you can withstand it. That's what we need. That's what I was thinking of. That's what we need, as far as psychological immunity. That's kind of what I was thinking. So what do we do to strengthen our roots, so that we can withstand whatever? And I just didn't have time to go through the entire article because of the phone calls last night, and then I just fell asleep. Sorry. But I'll share with you what the things that I think are important that can help with that. Um, first of all, I you know our physical health is so important. If you don't feel well, you're not going to feel well mentally either. And especially if you deal with chronic pain or chronic illness or chronic fatigue, anything like that, then you know very well that it really does, it mentally, it can really deplete your gas tank, your mental gas tank that keeps you going and keeps you happy and keeps you able to deal with whatever. So it's just really, I can't say enough about physical health. You need to eat properly. You need some exercise. Definitely need some sunshine and fresh air. That is just fresh air and sunshine. I don't know exactly, other than the vitamin D we get from the sun. I don't know what it is. I just know it's important. And people that don't get fresh air and sun don't look well and they don't feel well. So, please, take care of yourselves physically, and sleep. I think that was why I think I had my breakdown in the grocery store last night. Probably more than anything was just the lack of sleep that I have had. I've always found that, I can feel so horrible at the end of the day, and I'll be dealing with something, and I just can't find the solution, and I can't, and it just feels like it's the end of the world. But I always know, after a good night's sleep, when I get up in the morning while we sleep, it kind of, things get softened. The edges of whatever it is that we are dealing with, everything gets softened, and it doesn't seem so bad in the morning. You're able to look at it with fresh eyes. We definitely need to get our sleep, so that mentally we can deal with everything during the day. And I'm working on it. I know I need it, but again, please make sure that you are getting proper sleep. It really is extremely important. I know that's difficult, for those that are, excuse me, let me have a drink here. I know that's really sleep at, when you are first going through withdrawals from drugs or alcohol, sleep can be a definite issue. It's going to take time for your brain, for everything to be reset. Um, so, it's a good idea to practice really good sleep hygiene, things like putting your phone or your computer screen, whatever, or a television, whatever, turning that off, an hour or two before you're going to go to bed. Spending time maybe meditating or reading, things like that can help prepare you for sleep. But please make sure that you get as much sleep as you can. They always recommend between 7 and 9 hours, and I always laugh when I read that. I wish I could. I can. My body will not let me sleep that long. It just doesn't work. I wish I could, but that's it is important, to get as much as you can. It's also important not to oversleep, because that can create issues as well. But shoot for 7 to 9 if you are able to sleep. It's going to benefit you mentally and physically both. When you were sleeping, your brain not only works on your memory and sorts through things and softens the bad things, but physically, that's when your body detoxes. It's when you um, rebuild and repair tissues, things like that. It's so important. And I was thinking how important it is to work on your mental health issues. you know, anyone that is an addict or has been an addict, there's reasons why. And I know I speak of this a lot, but it's because it's important. If you don't take care of the issues that caused you to become addicted in the first place, you're going, you're going to continue to struggle, and it's not good. And especially just the way that the world is right now, the way things are falling apart. So important to take care of your mental health so that you are ready, to deal with whatever is coming. So, please, if you need help with that, professional help, see what you can do to get that. Support groups, and of course the lifeboat, you guys, is always a great resource too. I was thinking too, it's a really good idea to have a plan as far as taking care of yourself with your emotional and your mental health. Um, think about the things that you do from day to day that give you a boost, that help you, that strengthen you. That's very different for everybody, but it's so important, to fill that mental gas tank so that you can deal with things and keep going. For me, I'll just give you some examples. The things that I do that really help, of course, I write a lot in my journal, and then I keep a gratitude journal. And gratitude, just being grateful for things, does so much for you. It reminds you of the things that you do have and the blessings that you have. And it boosts, just being grateful for things, really boosts positive thoughts and boosts positivity in general for you. So that's really good. I spend a lot of time on my knees praying, and I spend time meditating. I've already mentioned I spend a lot of time, studying scripture. I worship, in my faith regularly. It's very important to me, and that's where I find a lot of my strength is there. I find that helping others does so much for me. Guys, I can't say enough about that either. I get so much from that. It takes me away from the things that are bothering me. And especially if I have a day where I'm in a lot of pain, I always feel better if I reach out to someone, or if I go visit someone. Or I have a very dear friend that is going through a lot right now. She went through a lot of domestic abuse, and she's got the most wonderful children, and she homeschools them. And sometimes I go over and help her with that, and just doing things like that, little things to help other people. It does so much for you, and it also builds your friendship and builds relationships, that we need to rely on each other. We need to help each other. So, again, I just can't say enough about reaching out and helping each other. It is such a help. Um, again, of course, running for me too, where I used to, anytime I used to struggle, I used to turn to pain pills. That was my thing. But now running is anytime. It's kind of weird, but anytime I'm struggling with something, or I'm really frustrated about something, I want to go for a run. I want those endorphins, and I find that going out and either hiking. I love to go. I just love to be out. I have mountains just right over here, not even far from my back door, and I love to just take off and either go running or hiking and just get away. I just let my mind wander wherever it wants, and I find a lot of solace in that. You can find a lot of solace just on your own out in nature. That really helps. And I also, my attitude, I try really hard to keep a positive attitude. I try to encourage myself and encourage everybody around me. And I just try to see things. I like to look at things as, I just look at challenges and problems, not as, oh boy, I don't want this. And I try to look at it as, okay, this is a challenge. It's here. Let's face it. What can I learn from it? That's how I like to look at it, because I just know that doing it any other way doesn't work for me. But that I do that, and um, I think too it's important to choose happiness. It really is, in the end, it really is a choice. You can choose to be miserable, or you can choose to be happy. If you choose to be happy, it does take work, but it is a choice, you know? So, you know, try not to focus or ruminate on the negative things in your life. Face them. Just face them and try to fix them if that's possible. But hiding from them and just worrying about them and stewing about them is not definitely not going to help. You know, like I said, it takes some work to be happy, and it's a choice, but it's definitely doable. I also think it's really important to take care of your family. That might be a spouse and children, or your family of origin, or it might just be, maybe you don't have relationships with your family any longer, but you have people that you consider family. But it's really important to nourish those relationships. This is the time we need to rely on each other. I know I keep saying that, but that's I think that's why we're here in the end. You need to nourish those relationships with attention and love and time. It's so important. And it's I know for myself, my children, my husband's children, and my husband, such a source of strength. And there was a time when I didn't I didn't think I would ever have that again. And it did take time. I had to rebuild a lot of relationships, and I'm really glad I did, though. You know, and if you are in a situation where you don't have, where you've lost people in your life that mean a lot to you, it does take time, but I promise you, it is possible to get that back if you choose to. Let's see. I was also thinking, um, I was reading, I think I posted it I posted this on the Lifeboat Facebook about it's important that you pay attention to what you're putting in your body and in your mind. And and it says something about garbage in, garbage out. And it's really true. I would definitely recommend not spending too much time watching the news. It's just going to disturb you. I mean, I think it's important to know what's going on around you, but there's a point where it can be too much and it just becomes overwhelming and it can really affect you. You know, I think it's really important to, take time away from your screen. You know, we know how addictive. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to bump that. Um, I think it's really important, get away from the screens for a while because social media can really affect you. There's a lot of negativity, but there's a lot of positive stuff too to find. But take some time away so that you can spend time on yourself. Writing about yourself or reflecting. Or dealing with the issues that you need to. Those phones can. I hate that. I hate my phone. I wish I didn't need it. It drives me crazy. I love it when my husband and I go somewhere and we're out of range and we have no Wi-Fi. It doesn't happen often, but I love it when I don't have to worry about paying attention to people that might be calling or reaching out to me. It's nice sometimes to get a break from that. Um, I think it's a real good time for some laughter. Laughter is so healing. If you're having a really bad day, you know take take an hour or two and watch something silly, something fun. Monty Python for me, or Mel Brooks movies, really. I love those things. And it really is, laughter is really healing. I also find whenever I get some of our children together, we sit down at the table and play Cards Against Humanity. I laugh so hard every time, and I always feel so much better. And doesn't it just feel? Don't you love it when you meet up with old friends or family, and you start talking about the dumb things you've done in your past, and you just start laughing so hard um, that you can't even breathe, and your stomach hurts. Those are the best times. I know when I get together with my sisters and my brother, and we just start talking about the stupid things we did to each other as kids. Even though we've told those stories over and over again, we laugh every time. And we got some seriously funny stories. But I think it's really important to make sure you get some of that. Because laughter really is healing. Um, spend some time with some good literature, um, some good music, because it really does matter what you are taking in, what you're listening to, what you're seeing. It has a huge effect on you. And I was thinking again about that globe willow, that wonderful tree out there. You know, um, good music, good literature, laughter, those positive things, those are things that nourish our roots and help us stay stable. Um, I also think it's a good idea, just with the way the financial situation is in our country. I think if it's possible, it's a good time to do a little preparation. Um, I fear that food security might be an issue, and I fear that our personal safety might be an issue. So that's something you might want to address. I know that if you are prepared, it's a lot less scary. Um, I also want to just say, if you have, your own personal faith, whatever it be, find strength in that. there really is a lot of strength. That's where I find my strength is in God. And whatever it is that you believe, find strength in that, because there really is very helpful to have help from a higher power. Um, I also want to say, don't forget to listen to your inner voice. Every one of us have a sense of self that we had from the very beginning. And it's really important that you be true to yourself and do things, that are according to your personal, what's the word I want? Can't think of the word I want. Oh goodness, guys. Anyway, also, believe in yourself. I just want to remind you guys, things, I know that things are hard, and so many of you have been through so many difficult things and are going through still so many difficult things. But, listen to that inner voice and remember, you are strong enough. You're still here. I, I cannot believe, all of the times that I overdosed. I can't believe I'm still here, but we're all still here. We're made of tough stuff. We are very resilient if we choose to be, you know. And I just want to tell you, you are strong enough. You can maintain sobriety. If you are still in active addiction, you can get sober. You have the strength. You really do. Listen to that inner voice and believe in yourself. Like I said, it's just I really feel strongly that we need to strengthen ourselves mentally and emotionally to withstand the things that our country's going to go through. And it's not just, and I know we have a lot of people that are listening from overseas, and you guys are going through the same things. This is a worldwide mess right now. It's a scary time, but it's also a time for us to grow and become strong. And I honestly believe that addicts that find sobriety are some of the kindest, strongest people I have ever met, the most caring and loving. These are wonderful strengths, and this is what the world needs. So it's time for us to be strong and to stand up and show the rest of the world that we take care of each other and we lift each other up. I mean, that's what this lifeboat is here for. It's, to lift people up, to give them hope and light. So again, believe in yourself, believe you are strong enough to withstand anything that comes your way. I believe you're here for a reason. Sorry, I better not even say anymore because I know this is not a religious channel, but you guys, I am on my knees every day praying for every one of you. And there's, quite a few of you, I know what's going on in your lives, and it breaks my heart. And I wish I could take your pain away. But I also know that pain has a purpose and it is a great teacher. And sometimes we just have to go through it. But trust me, if I can pull myself out of the hole I was in and be sober for 15 years now, you can do it. Because I was the weakest, most pathetic thing. You can do this. And guys, I believe in you. So please believe in yourself. I hope you guys have a great day. I'm not even going to look at the chat because I'm tired. I'm sorry. But you guys hang in there. If you're struggling, reach out and lift each other up, because when you lift someone else up, you are helping yourself as well. You know, you guys have a great day. I will talk to you again tomorrow.